This exercise is going to mimic what you need to do in Code Practice Question 2, which is also kind of the basis for your knock-knock joke at the end of the term, or the end of this unit. And so we are going to use this replit environment. I am not going to do that exact same code. I'm going to do something new. This happens to be the knock-knock joke environment, and I want to actually create something new. So I'm going to go over here and create a new replit. And I want to mimic this idea with the knock-knock joke. And I want to create it in Python. I'm going to name it conference data. I'm going to name it conference data 2 because I already have one existing and I don't know what it's going to do if I named it the same. And please notice that you can actually use GitHub on some of this here. That's actually a useful resource to start to learn to using things. And so we have our new environment here, and we have to start from scratch. Now, I don't know if I still have it, but I had the code from my previous program that we did with file paths when the temperature is loaded, so I just pasted that in. And now there's a couple of things that are going to have to go on. And so first of all, I don't have my temperatures file over here, and I don't want my temperatures file. I'm going to create a file that deals with a conference data. And so I'm going to call it attendees. And that's going to be the people that are coming to my conference. I'm going to add a file over here. And in my file, what I want to do is create, and I don't know how to create a file, so we're going to call it attendees. This is all new to me, so I'm learning with you, you're learning with me. Now my attendees are going to include a list of names and whether or not they happen to be a member of my association. And so if I have Fred Flintstone, and is he a member? Yes. I have Barney Rubble. Is he a member? No. I just went ahead and created some data, and so we have data it's kind of like what we would call parallel data in the respect that we have a name, are they a member, a name, are they a member, a name, are they a member. So I have to know how my data set is organized. I'm going to go back to main, and I want to open the file for reading, and I want to read in each line. I'm not going to be counting temperatures, but I am going to be counting members. And so I'm going to do something like member count to count members. I really don't need to total up, there's nothing there for me to average, and so I just need to keep track of how many members there are somehow. I got to think about that, how I might do that. The other thing that we often maybe need to know is the total lines in the program. So total lines, I'm going to start at 0 also. And then this is going to read in a line from my file, print the line, and it will keep, I don't want to keep track of the member count yet, but I do want to keep track of the total lines. And the total lines in my file is every time I read, I'm going to have a line. Now, to kind of echo or be able to see that it's actually printing what I want, it's printing the line right here. And let me think for a second. If I want to take that print statement and I want to move it after I count that line. So I read in a line, I count the line, and then I'm going to print the line. But when I print the line, I also want to print basically like what row number it's on. Okay, so I want to give it what I want to do is print out the actual number. So I'm going to print the string of the total line. So it's going to print 1 is what my intent is, and then it's going to print a space, and then it's going to print whatever is on that line. Hopefully that's going to work. And parens, another parens maybe. We will see if this works. And then I don't need any of these calculations right now. I'll actually see my print statement for total line, so I don't need to output that. So right now I just need to close the file. Remember, when you're processing files, you open the file, you process the file, and then you close the file. Okay? Cross my fingers that this works. Probably won't the first time, and it doesn't, because I have an invalid syntax, it says. And so let me take a look. Was that, do I have an extra space? Doesn't like that. So I want to print total line, and then I want to concatenate a space, and then I want to print what was actually read in by the line here. But it does not like that. Total line is undefined because I named it total lines. So this is just a typo. Hopefully we can fix that. Put that in and see if it runs. Nope. Again, we have a problem. It says no such file or directory, attendees.txt. So again, let's take a look at my typo, my spellings. Attendees, attendees.txt. Over here, I named it attendees. I might need to actually name this, rename it, I'm not sure, .txt, and see if that executes. Nope. I'm going to have to investigate. And it says line is not defined now. That's because I accidentally put an S in there. I thought I put an S somewhere extra. And we will see if it runs. So, a couple of things. If you create your own data file, you need to make sure you name it with the proper extension when you're creating it. And this shows me I have 14 items in my data file. It does not tell me my member count because remember I have name and then member, name, member. So I'm going to have to do something special with that member count, but I know how many lines of data are in my data file. Okay, that's part one of this video. We are going to go on to the next one in just a minute. But just to review quickly, we have a counting variable that we're not using right now. And we have a second counting variable that's counting how many lines, and that is executing, but it doesn't actually represent the number of attendees. If I wanted to find the number of attendees in here, I would have to do number of attendees. Because I know how my data file is set up, it's going to be total lines divided by 2, and then I would be able to print the number of attendees so that I would have number of people attending, and just to show you how we would do this. And then remember we have to change our data number of attendees to a string in order to print it out. So if we execute that, we're going to get counts the data, number of attendees is attending is 7.0. It's printing as a float, which that's okay. But it doesn't make a lot of sense because you can't have half a person. But anyway, that just gives you a little bit of an idea of working with a file. Now, some people take this close statement and they put it here at the bottom of your program, but many times you have to close a file and then reopen it in order to do more processing. Like you close it from reading and then you reopen it to do writing. So I'm going to encourage you to keep that close statement as close to where you're done with the file as you can. That's a wrap.